Welcome to High Strangeness, where we ask questions and explore all that is strange and unexpected in our reality.
October 11th, 1973. At the height of one of the most intense UFO waves in American history, something strange was unfolding across the southern United States. Lights in the sky, silent objects, encounters that would challenge everything people thought they understood about reality. In southwestern Louisiana, under a sky untouched by artificial light, one man followed a feeling he couldn't quite explain, a sense that tonight might be different. What he and his friend witnessed that night wasn't distant, fleeting, or ambiguous. It was close. It was silent. And it was unlike anything they had ever seen. A glowing object descending at an angle, colors shifting from red to emerald green to brilliant yellow, then pulsing with impossible intensity just yards away. No sound, no wind, no clear shape, just light, movement, and something deeply unsettling in its presence. At nearly the exact same time, roughly 200 miles away in Pascagoula, Mississippi, two shipyard workers, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, would experience what would become one of the most famous close encounters in history, the Pascagoula abduction. Coincidence or something more? Tonight, we're joined by a first-hand witness whose experience that same night places him closer to the phenomenon than most ever get. His story raises questions not just about what was seen, but what might have been happening across an entire region in a single moment in time. This is High Strangeness. And tonight, we're stepping back into the fall of 1973 to ask a simple question. What was really in the skies that night?
All right, please, go ahead.
Okay, so you want me to go back to how I started in this subject?
Yeah. How did you get into all this subject?
I was living in South Louisiana at that time. Like I explained before, my father was with Texaco, and he worked offshore, and I only saw him 6 months out of the year. He worked 6 days off in the Gulf and 6 days home. So he had to go by car to the landing, then to another landing by boat, and then to a helicopter to a rig or wherever he was going. So I only saw him 6 months out of the year, and I was friends with a family, and they had 4 brothers. And the father, like I was explaining to you earlier, he was an amateur astronomer. But in professional life, he dealt with all these big radio towers. He would climb to the top and fix the instruments on them. It was incredible what he would do. And on Saturdays, when there was good weather, he would take us with him all over Louisiana, wherever he had to go. It was incredible.
Nice.
And he built a 300-power telescope and would take us out and complete away from the artificial lighting of the town, and we would see the planets. He would show us Jupiter, Saturn, and his family had a sighting. They're the ones that introduced me to the subject, and they originally gave me a book, and this is back in 65, 66, Jacques Vallée's book, Anatomy of a Phenomena. And that was the first book I actually read on the subject. And after reading it, I was just hooked on it. The subject just was fascinating to me.
It is, and I was going to say, it's amazing how long Jacques Vallée has been involved in this subject, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. He had discovered, back in like around 55, I believe, when he was living in France as a boy. His mother was in the garden, and she saw a silver disc in daylight. And let me tell you, seeing a daylight disc, it's very rare.
Yeah.
You're going to have more nighttime sightings reported than you will daylight. You definitely will.
Right.
If you go back through the history of this subject, you're just going to have more nighttime type of sightings. And she saw a daylight disc, and she called him out, and he was like about 15 years old, and he saw it.
Man.
It was like 2 saucers, one on top of the other, placed together, lip to lip. incredible sighting. And a friend of his that lived down the way also saw it because it hovered over the steeple of the local church
Wow.
in the town they were living in. And then, as he was older and he was working with satellite detection in France, he discovered an object that shouldn't have been there, and they actually erased that proof.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You know, that he discovered. They actually erased it and censored it before he could actually do anything with it. And then he became later involved with. He moved to America and he got involved at Northwestern with J. Allen Hynek when Hynek was working with Project Blue Book and helped him with a lot of the cases. I think he worked with Hynek for 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Hynek was involved with Blue Book.
That's incredible right there. That's going back to the very beginning of a lot of this.
Oh yeah, some of his theories. You know, at one time, and then I've read his book Dimensions and Confrontations. Those 2 books are great. And at one time, I was, and I still have that type of theorizing about the subject to some degree about other dimensions. You can't discount it, you know?
Right.
Because like Vallée says, sometimes the objects just appear.
Right.
They just appear. They're not coming from somewhere and going somewhere. They're just there in front of you. It's like they come through some type of dimensional portal or something.
Right. It's amazing to me.
It's amazing. I mean, if you go down this rabbit hole, you'll get lost, man.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm telling you, Tony. The complexity of this subject may be the reason that it could have been held back in a lot of ways.
Yes. I agree with
That's why
that.
we don't know more than we know as average people, that they don't come out and tell you anything. But because maybe if you go any deeper, the complexity of it, the average person might not even comprehend it.
I totally agree with that.
I mean, you got to look at it logically, you know? You got to look at it logically. These astrophysicists that, when you ask them about it, they say, well, look, this star is 17 light years from Earth or 36 light years from Earth. That would mean it would take them 36 years to get here. That's just, the distance is too great. But you're thinking in linear distance.
Right.
You're thinking about our known physics.
Right.
You've got to go beyond that. You've got to have some kind of flexibility that gives you at least a little imagination to say maybe of some type of civilization has evolved 100,000 years or 1,000,000 years before, longer than us, that they've found a way to circumvent man-made known physics.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. That's the only way.
It's the only way you can think about it. It's the only way. You can't be so close-minded that you can say the distances in space between star to star is too great. It's shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it. You just have to have some imagination to let your mind open that it is possible. And believe me, have you ever had a sighting close or any type of thing that you didn't understand?
Not anything like this. That's why I'm so interested in it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we'll go a little further, and we'll go back to where I was in the Army Reserve.
Okay.
From 67 to 73, and that was at the peak of Vietnam, man.
Yes.
I was in the reserve, Army Reserve at the peak of Vietnam. I knew aircraft. You know, I knew everything about jets and helicopters. I studied all that stuff. I flew on cargo planes from Louisiana to Fort Ord, California, and back. I knew about aircraft
Yeah.
and what was available. And it's just a shame back then there were no cell phones, you know, or that type of thing.
That's right.
'Cause we just didn't have anything that, you know, other than a camera. And I was a young college student. I wasn't even thinking about cameras. I just didn't think about it when we went. So 1973, if you research it, the early fall months between maybe late summer, August through November, it was the greatest wave of sightings, possibly the biggest flap in the history of UFOlogy.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. You can talk to any researcher.
So let me ask
Matter
you.
of fact, I told you in my report that they took my story, and I'm included as one of the witnesses in the documentary Aliens in America, the Pascagoula case, Abducted While Fishing. That's the name of the documentary. It's done by EMI Studios out of London. They flew here to South Florida to interview me.
Wow. That's
And from
amazing.
here, they went to Pascagoula, Mississippi, and interviewed Calvin Parker before he passed away. Charles Hickson, the older gentleman, passed away in 2011, but Calvin passed away in August of 2023.
Wow.
And it took them a year and a half, almost 2 years, to get this documentary finished with all the witnesses and whatever they had to do. But the producer of the documentary, Pierce Garland, he flew to my home personally and set up the cameras. They were here at my house for over 4.5 hours.
Wow. So this is a
And
recent
I gave
thing.
them my story, and that's in that documentary. It was free on YouTube for
Wow.
about a month, and now they charge you to see it.
So Paul, was that when? So when was it released?
Aliens in America, I would say maybe 8 months ago, something like that.
Oh, wow.
A little bit less than a year. But
That's
you'll find it. If you go on YouTube, look up Aliens in America, the Pascagoula case, Abducted While Fishing. That's the whole title.
Yeah, I definitely will look it up. I thought we were talking about one that was like 15 years old. This is amazing that it's that recent that they finally released it.
Yeah. Well, there's hundreds of documentaries on it.
Right.
I mean, when you go to YouTube and look up Pascagoula UFO case, you just go scroll and see podcast and Whitley Strieber's podcast. Now, have you heard of Martin Willis?
Why does that name?
He's got a podcast called Martin Willis Podcast UFO.
Okay.
And one night, I happened to have it on, and he had a call-in show. This was in 2021.
Wow.
In April, I believe, this same month in 2021, I called him on the phone during his podcast.
Nice.
And gave him my report. And at the end of the report, he goes, "It's amazing. It's amazing."
Yeah. That's what I thought too.
Because I am telling you, Tony, that's why you can't really explain it to a lot of people until they would see something like that. They could never understand it.
Right.
It was right there. I'll give you the synopsis of the story.
Yes.
So I was telling you there was this wave or flap in 1973. That's what they call a huge amount of sightings taking place. It's always referred to as a flap or a wave.
Yeah.
And back then, there were no cell phones. There was no internet. There was no, anything like that to get information from. So you depended on newspapers.
Right.
And newspapers were having articles. I was looking them up. I have a whole scrapbook of stuff I've cut out, the newspaper articles that were in that I was finding. And there was a wave coming out of the Midwest through the South, even the western states, California, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri. Ohio, tremendous cases in Ohio in '73.
Wow.
There's one, I don't know if you've ever researched it or looked it up. It happened in October '73. It was called the Coyne helicopter case. Coyne. He was a colonel, I believe, in the reserve, and they were flying a helicopter with 3 other men in it. And they saw this object, had a green light on the front. It was closing on them, and it raised them about 3,800 feet when they were about 1,700 feet.
Wow.
It was an incredible case. It's incredible. All 4 men or whoever was on that helicopter saw it, and the green light on the front of that thing even illuminated the ground below. Other witnesses were on the ground watching this from the ground. It's an incredible case.
That is.
It's called the Coyne, Coyne, helicopter case, and it happened in Ohio, 1973, October. And that's why I'm telling you, all this stuff was tied together. So I told my friend, and I didn't realize it was October 11th.
Yeah.
I had no idea of the day's date, which ended up being a Thursday. And I told my friend, who knew I was interested in this stuff, and he was interested, but he didn't have the knowledge that I had accumulated about it. And I said, if we go out tonight, there's a big thing happening across the country. They're not talking about it in the national media, but it's happening. It's in the newspapers. People are seeing these objects in the sky. We may see something. They're in Arkansas, Missouri, Texas. They're reporting all this. So we went out away from the town we were living in, and that was in southwestern Louisiana. And I was about 250 miles from Pascagoula, but I didn't even know anything was happening over there. I never even thought about that. So we left where we were living, and we headed north, and we ended up way, way out in the country, because in that part of Louisiana, the towns are spread far apart.
Okay.
So you have a community here, and then all you have is sugarcane fields and marsh, and you'd have to drive another 20 or 30 miles to the next town. That's how it is.
Wow.
So we ended up way out in the countryside. There wasn't even any paved roads. There was gravel roads, and nothing but cow pastures.
Wow.
And no artificial lighting, no street light or city lights from the town where we lived. We were way too far away from any of that. So it was complete darkness. All you had was a starlit sky. And we were out there in his car. We stopped on the side of a gravel road. And there was a cow pasture right next to us, and there was a ditch and a fence. I still remember that. And we got out of the car, and he came around to the passenger side, and I was standing right by the front bumper. And I looked up to the 11 o'clock position. That's about where it was in the sky.
Okay.
And it might have been about a mile and a half away from us. And it was a red light moving from west to east, from that 11 o'clock position, coming from the west, going across to the eastern part of the sky. About halfway, it just stopped dead, and it turned emerald green, and there wasn't a sound.
Wow.
There was nothing. Just from red, it stopped, and it went like just to green. I mean, a green. And then it looked like it started to, it was coming down. It looked like about a 45-degree angle, just coming down on an angle. And the way the cow pastures were made, they were huge. and they were made like a horseshoe. So I told my friend, let's get in the car, man. We'll do a U-turn, and we'll go all the way around. We'll come up the other side. We'll be closer. It looks like it's coming down. So we got in the car. He did a U-turn. We went way around this pasture. We were coming up. We had just made the turn to the other side, and it was pulsating. Green, red, green, orange, just pulsating. There wasn't a sound.
Wow.
And it was moving from left to right across the road. And so when it got to about the middle, and I mean slow, just floating across. And when it got to the middle of the road, I told my friend, drive faster. We were driving, I mean, it was like we were floating or hydroplaning on the gravel. He was driving so fast. And I said, I was screaming, break your lights off and on. And he blinked his lights off and on, and it turned yellow. I mean, from the red, green, and orange, it just went to yellow. You couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it. And there wasn't a sound. It just revolved right into a yellow. And it went across the road, and he screamed. It turned purple, and it looked like something fell out of it. But I was so excited, I didn't see it. I didn't see that. And he slammed the brakes on, and we pulled to the side of the road, and it was above this cow pasture, right next to us. We jumped out of the car. There was a fence and a ditch. We were in the ditch holding on to the wired fence, and it was about 100 feet in the air, not more than 50 yards from us. We're standing there in complete darkness. There's not a sound.
Wow.
There's not a breeze. And it's pulsating. Red, green, orange. And when the red would go, the green was there. And when the green would go, the orange was there. You couldn't, we tried. You couldn't make out a shape. The colors were so vibrant and so intense that, I mean, it was blood red and emerald green. You couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it. And it's right there in front of us.
Wow.
And it looked like it was going to move to the north. It just appeared like it was going to move to the north, and it was gone. And I mean, it was gone. It was just like you were going in your bedroom, you had the light on, and you turned it off. It was gone.
Wow.
It didn't move away like air. You see a airplane, you see the whole movement across the sky, right?
Yeah.
You don't see that with this. This is just gone.
My gosh.
From 50 yards in front of you, 100 feet in the air. And I mean, we tried to make out the shape. And I'll never believe, I told, that's in my report. I still remember what I told him. I said, we're looking at, when that thing was pulsating right in front of us, I said, we're looking at something from another world. We went,
wow.
It was amazing. We were standing there. It was pitch black except for this thing right in front of us.
Wow.
I can't, and that's what I'm telling you. I can't even explain it to anybody hardly that doesn't have any knowledge of this subject. Okay, to give you an example, I went to my uncle's house, who my father said, go tell him. He's always interested in astronomy and the planets and the stars.
Yeah.
I went, and I respected him. And I went to his house, and I said, Uncle Al, you cannot believe what we saw, my friend and I saw last night. This was the night after. And I explained everything to him, and he goes, yeah, but, you know, when you see Venus,
He
you know
didn't
what
get
I did,
it.
Tony? I said, thank you, Uncle Al. And I walked right out of his house.
Yeah, he didn't get
I lost a lot
it.
of respect for him. I
Yeah.
really did.
Wow. He
That's
didn't
a
get
shame,
it.
huh?
He didn't get it. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, exactly.
He just did not get it or didn't understand it or, you know.
Wow.
Geez, it was such a, okay, now here's a caveat, and I'm gonna show you two things, read you one thing,
Uh-huh.
but I'm gonna tell you this thing. The next day, we didn't report this to anyone. You ready?
Yep.
The next day I'm in class, at the University of Louisiana. Back then, it was the University of Southwestern Louisiana.
Okay.
I was sitting at a desk in the back of the room. I was getting ready for a class. I was taking notes, getting ready, prepared for the class I was about to start. And there was some students talking in the front. I'll never forget it. One guy goes, "Did you guys hear about this thing that flew over the town last night with these red, green, and orange lights
Wow.
without a sound?"
Holy cow.
Yeah. So there's another verification.
Yeah.
There's another verification.
My gosh. So let me ask you a question, Paul. Um, going
Now,
back, let me ask you a question about 1973 with all this
okay.
going on. I was, I was pretty young. I was like 6 or 7 years old, so I don't remember those events. But the how would you compare it to the stuff that's been going on lately now? Do you think the frequency is higher back then than what we're seeing now with what's being reported?
I just think it was more of a dominant type of sighting.
Okay. Wow.
The whole decade from 70 to 79 was an incredible time. There were so many reports, but even the 60s had incredible sightings. The 50s had incredible sightings. And this is what I totally disagree with the government in.
Yeah.
This phony research program they call Arrow, which is
bogus.
yeah, you're not getting nothing from them.
Yeah.
You're not get. They don't even go in history. They start looking at stuff from 2004, and they even that video that they put out. They call it the Go Fast. It
Right.
shows the object going against the wind over the ocean.
Yes.
They say it's not in any height. It's I don't know what they make up some type of skeptical evaluation of what the pilot actually saw. It's just
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But back then, it was very hard. You couldn't really talk to people about it back then. There was more disbelief and skepticism back then than there is now. That's one thing that's different.
Yeah.
But the class of sighting, the type of sightings, were incredible. And it's a shame that the Arrow and whoever else is involved in that government research, they don't go back into those decades and study that type of sighting.
Right.
1967, Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. The object was above the front gate. The guard called the people downstairs running the missile silos that there's an object up here, and it's an orange disc. And 10 missiles shut down.
Yeah.
And when the object left, the missiles came back online.
What in the world can do that? It's amazing.
It's amazing. And the captain that was in charge of the missiles, he's retired now, but he talks at all these conferences on UFOs.
Yeah.
And he has never changed his story. He says he tells you what happened. He called the front gate called him, told him what was going on. The missile shut down. When the object was gone or whatever it was, the missiles came back online. This man's not lying. He was a captain in the Air Force.
Right, right.
He's not lying. And then he gave, this will really get you upset. He gave his story to the Wall Street Journal about a year ago. He gave his story to the Wall Street Journal, and he told the journalist that was interviewing him I am telling you what happened. This is what happened. It happened no other way, and I don't want my story changed in any way. When they printed the story, they came out and said there was a misinterpretation of the facts, and what it was the government was testing a pulse weapon.
Wow. Anything.
At the front gate, they were testing a pulse weapon. And I mean, it would take days to get everything ready if that's what they were doing. They just didn't do it in 10 minutes when
It's the most bogus story I've ever heard. They would not do something like that. There's no way. There's no way.
And that is what they treated this man like. That's the story they printed after he told them, please do not interpret this in any way other than what I'm telling you. Oh, no, we're going to tell it just like you're telling us.
Yeah.
And this is the story they printed.
Paul, what do you think? Why do you think, I mean, I've got thoughts too, but why do you think there's such an effort to keep this, in a place where nobody can really make heads or tails out of it?
It's what I told you. I think it's so complex.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the totality of it. They may have a little thumbnail piece of it, but they don't have the whole story. They just don't. And they can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer. I'm going to tell you right out, I'm a big believer in Bob Lazar. I don't doubt his story at all. He has never changed a detail of his story since 1989.
It's an amazing account. It changed everything.
They tell you, he has no education. We can't find his records. We can't do this. The researcher, George Knapp, went to Los Alamos, where he was working, and the local newspaper had a big picture of Bob Lazar with his Honda, who he inserted a jet engine in the back of it when he was working at Los Alamos. And they even had Bob Lazar's phone number in the Los Alamos scientific phone book that they have on their premises. You found his phone number. So how can you tell me he wasn't working there?
Right.
And when Bob Lazar was working at Los Alamos, the guy that helped invent the hydrogen bomb, Andrew Teller, the physicist, was outside. He gave a big talk at Los Alamos, and he was outside reading the newspaper, and he was looking at the front page where they had a big picture of Bob Lazar's jet car. And Bob Lazar happened to come outside, and he saw him. And he said, that's me, and that's my car.
Yeah.
He thought it was incredible. He said Teller thought it was incredible. And Teller, when Bob Lazar left Los Alamos, he started writing letters to different corporations trying to get a job. And he wrote a letter to Teller asking him if he could help him. And that's how he got connected to that job. And it wasn't at Area 51. It was at S4, which is 15 miles to the south of Area 51.
Paul,
and
he
got in touch with Teller, and Teller is the one that actually got him, put in a word for him, and that's how he got that position.
Yeah.
He worked for him for like 6 months, and the hours were they were abstract. They'd call you at 2 in the morning, we need you now. Then you wouldn't go for 3 or 4 days after you worked 2 days. Then they call you 11 o'clock at night, so you never know when they were going to call you.
Right. Paul, did you see the movie? Did you see the movie that just came out on Amazon?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's really good. And Bob Lazar,
it took him 4 years to make it.
Yeah. I mean, Bob Lazar signed off on all the everything that they show there to say, it's exactly what I remembered, exactly like that. It was impressive.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he was on Joe Rogan for his first interview, which was over 2 hours, and that interview had more views for Joe Rogan than any other Rogan's interview.
Yeah.
And then last week, I think it was last week or the week before, he came out with another interview on Rogan. Rogan had him again.
Yeah.
And within 3 hours, there was over 375,000 views. And when I woke up the next morning, it was over 1 million views.
Wow.
And he told the same story.
Amazing.
The same story. Again, and I've watched him in a lot of podcasts and interviews and watched his body language. And I'm telling you, the guy's not lying, Tony.
Right. No, I believe him. I completely believe him.
You know, there's several people that they just won't believe it because they can't find his education. You don't think the government can scrub your education?
Right. Right.
If you trust this government, it is unbelievable what
Well,
they can do.
I don't think you can, if you're being realistic and thinking about it, the stuff he brought up in 1989, for it to have so much of it has been proven over the
Yeah.
years. How can
How
you
many times?
how can you
How
conflict
would
that?
he know that the disc flips up perpendicular
Yep.
with the gravitational devices facing to where it wants to go? And there are sightings, I don't know how many, that show the disc flipped up like that.
Yeah.
How would he know that?
There's no way. I mean, remember, before he came out, nobody even knew about S4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. How would he know about element 115?
Right. Right.
He knew about it. They didn't discover that. They couldn't reproduce it. And then very little, I think 2013 or 14, they came out with it in Europe somewhere, but very little. And then it just disintegrated. They can't keep it stabilized.
It's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
It's
and
undeniable.
Then he came out. How would he know about this machine where to enter the classified area, you put your palm down on a machine, and it reads the bones in your hand.
Right.
How would he know about that in 1989?
Right.
They didn't have it.
Unbelievable.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
They scrubbed his education. They did, and you know why he came out? He thought it was his best protection.
Yeah, I'm not
surprised. Because if they did him something, people would say he knows. That's why you did. That's why this happened to him. That's why you did him in, or whatever they would do to him.
Yeah.
But they've harassed him. He took people out after while he was working there. He knew when they tested the object.
Yeah.
He knew when they would test those objects.
And the day and time.
He brought witnesses with him in the desert. They got video of it.
Yep.
He took them out twice, and on the third time, they got caught.
It's unbelievable.
And he was interrogated, I don't know how many hours in a room. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Paul,
I've never doubted him, but I heard that video, that documentary is incredible.
Hey there, Strange Nation. Have you subscribed already? If not, please help us by doing that now. Thanks, and let's get back to the show.
I know it took him 4 years to make it.
Yeah, I think it's worth watching. I really enjoyed it when I watched it. Yeah. Well, Paul, let me circle back around to your sighting.
Okay.
Can I ask a few questions about the sighting?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. When you went out there, did you guys traveled out there, you and your friend, was it specifically to go see anything, or did you just feel compelled to go out there on that long ride with them?
No, it was specifically, I told my friend, it was the chance of seeing something.
Nice.
We had no idea we would see anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I specifically told my friend because of all these reports being reported across the country and in neighboring states, we have a chance to see something. But we had no idea what was happening in Pascagoula at the same time. My sighting was about 8 to 8:15 that night.
That's
Our
incredible.
sighting.
It's incredible.
Our sighting.
Now,
And
when you describe this, it's clearly not any kind of an aircraft from that time frame. We know
hey,
that. But for you at the moment, do you recall in your heart and in your mind the moment you realized this is not a normal aircraft? Do you remember the feelings you had?
yeah, of course. When I saw the thing going straight across red without a sound, and you'd stop dead and turn into that brilliant green and start to come down on a 45, still no sound. And I said, I still wasn't thinking, is it real? Is it an aircraft at that time? When I said, let's do a U-turn, and we went way around, and when it was pulsating on the left side of the road, red, green, and orange, and my friend is driving, and we're going so fast, and I'm screaming. And when that thing came across the middle of the road, and gravel road, and turned to a brilliant yellow, that was it. I said, look at that. It just revolved into a yellow.
Wow.
And then it went across, and you can imagine, this is pitch black darkness.
Yeah.
And you're seeing this vivid color in front of you. And it went across the road, and when he screamed, it turned purple. It looked like something dropped out of it. And I was so excited, I didn't see it. And he slammed on the brakes to the side of the road, and we jumped out, and we're in the ditch, and we're holding onto the fence, and now it's pulsating that red and green and orange. And when the red would go, the green was there. When the green would go, the orange was there. And you couldn't make out a shape. It was just too intense, the colors. It
Wow.
was like a plasma. It
Yeah.
just going in and out and in and out. And not a breeze, Tony, not a sound. We're
Wow.
standing in complete darkness. And that's when I told him we're holding on to the fence. I said, we're looking at something from another world.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was going to move to the north, and it was gone. The next day I hear this in class. So there's correlation to my sighting.
Yeah. It's incredible.
But nobody saw it like we did, that close.
Oh, right.
Nobody. Now listen to this. This is another caveat that you won't believe, and this will correlate my sighting even further. Area resident reports sightings. This was reported on 10/12/73, the next day in the local paper. Listen
Wow.
to this. Another sighting of a UFO was reported to the Daily Iberian, that's the name of the paper, by an area resident Friday. So the sighting was Thursday night, October 11th. Curly Miguez Jr. of Lydia said he and his wife, Kenneth Robichaux, and a host of Robichaux neighbors sighted a UFO Thursday night. Miguez said he observed what was certain to be some type of aircraft, which increased its speed at times, hovered, and sometimes even zigzagged. He said at one time it appeared, you ready, like something dropped out of it.
Whoa.
Just what my friend said.
Paul,
Out of the main craft.
what do you
He
think?
also noticed glowing lights which flashed in red and green colors
Wow.
at times. Miguez actually sighted the UFO twice, once at about 8:15 and then again at 8:30, at which time he called out others to witness the sighting. And wherever he was, he still wasn't as close as we were to it.
Yeah. That's amazing. Hey, real quick question. Your friend and even this report, what did they say what they thought fell out of it? Did it look like liquid or a person or just material? What did they say? Or did they
No,
not
it's
capture?
just there was just no description other than the lights. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
without the sound. He was as amazed as I was.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
unbelievable.
we were young. We were just like freshmen in college or sophomores, and I mean, it was just we were seeing something. We knew it was a UFO. I mean, it definitely was. It was an unidentified flying object, and it just was just a sighting that was more incredible than we had expected to even see.
Right. Right.
I never thought I would see something that close and with colors that vivid and with no sound and no breeze. You just don't know how it was. It was incredible.
Paul, what was the conversation between you and your friend after you saw that? Were you guys just quiet in disbelief or
It was
what?
that's true. That's true. And when I got home, my mother says, "What's wrong with you? You can't even talk." I was hoarse, Tony. I didn't even have a voice left.
Wow.
She says, "You can't even talk." And I'll never forget. My father was going to work the night before, or that night. He was going to work. He was leaving the house, and he had this huge emergency seal beam flashlight, big thing. The front of it was about 6 inches across, and I said, "I want to take this out when we go look." And he said, "Don't you dare take that flashlight," because he knew I was going to try to sing with it.
Yeah.
And believe me, I had no fear. I mean, I was in the reserve for 6 years, and I knew aircraft, and the fear never entered in my mind of any of that stuff, radioactivity, any of that.
Yeah.
It just never entered my mind. It
Paul.
never entered my mind. But he did tell me, "Don't you dare take that flashlight out of the house." And I didn't take it. And I was going to say, that's why I was telling my friend, blink your lights off and on.
Yeah.
And when it turned yellow, I mean, from red, green, and orange pulsating across the road, it gets to about the middle of the road. We're flying on that gravel, and it revolves to yellow. And if you go back into a lot of reports, they show yellow lights sometime. And you don't see yellow lights on an airplane.
Right. Right.
You don't see yellow lights. And we didn't see blue. And that's another light you don't see on an airplane. And there's many reports where the object has blue lights.
Right. Paul, because now, many, many decades later, as you look back into this in your mind, how has it changed has it changed your worldview on anything, seeing
Yeah,
something like that?
absolutely. It's changed my worldview totally. You cannot tell me that was some type of back-engineered craft in 1973. It
Right.
just didn't happen.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way.
And so let me
I don't
ask.
know Tony, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know what's going on. You got to build a rocket 318 feet long and
Right.
you got to have 8 million pounds of thrust to get out of the Earth's atmosphere.
Right.
That's like sitting on a bomb, man.
I know, right?
You got to be out. Look what happened twice already.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen again. This is man-made stuff. It's going to. You can look out for so long, and then something could happen. An astronaut even said about a week ago, "I don't think about what could happen.
Right.
I just do my job." So, I mean, to me, that's primitive, man.
Yeah, it is.
That type of propulsion is primitive. What are you moving? 17,000 to 25,000 miles an hour?
Yeah.
That's. I don't understand it. And then you have people like Dr. Greer come out and say, "Oh, we got anti-gravity. We have triangles that are big as a football field." You telling me the Phoenix Lights were built by American ingenuity? Are you kidding me? The governor, a year later came out and said he saw the object, the Phoenix Lights object.
Yeah.
And you could land the stealth bomber on its wing.
Unbelievable.
Come on. They blocked out all the stars. 1,000 people saw it. They never, and to come out and say it's flares?
Yep.
They watched the whole thing traverse from southern Nevada all the way through Arizona, through Phoenix. It's unbelievable. And they try to tell you it's flares. One guy said it wasn't more than 30 feet above him on the highway. He could see up into the lights, and it was like a lava type thing. Like the color was coming down out of the light and going back in. How could you have the ingenuity to build something like that? Come on.
Right. Exactly.
You just couldn't. You couldn't. And they don't have it. I don't understand it. Whether it's an economic thing that it will destroy all the fossil fuel corporations and they won't let it happen? Is it that?
Right.
Is it religion? I just think the universe, it's just, you can't even imagine it. Listen to this. This will just explain something to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the biggest star is in our universe? We have a star which is a third-rate star. We're in the Goldilocks zone of the planets, of the 8 planets, because they don't include Pluto anymore as a planet.
Right.
So we're in the Goldilocks zone. We're the third planet from the sun. Third-rate star. And I don't know how many trillion stars in the Milky Way, and how many millions of galaxies and trillions of stars are in those galaxies. Now, you know, Stevenson, the name of this star, they named it Stevenson 218. This is the biggest known star in the universe that we know.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Give it to me.
You know how many of our suns could fit into that star? Could you take a guess?
Man, I mean, I can't imagine.
You ready? As big as our sun is, how many of those could go into that star? You ready?
Hit me.
Just tell you something.
Yeah.
9 billion.
What the heck?
That's out there. It could be 300 light years from here or 700 light years, but it's out there.
Wow.
You know how many Earths, how many planet Earths could fit in that star?
The number
You can't even imagine. You ready?
Yeah.
13 quadrillion.
That's unbelievable. That's like a sector of space. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's incredible, huh?
It is.
That's incredible. It's just unreal what's out there. And I just can't say that this little 7,000-mile planet in diameter and 24,000 miles in circumference is the one and all top of the food chain. It just ain't.
Right.
It just ain't.
There's too much out there.
There's too much. There's too much, man. And that's why you keep asking me about what I think about it. I just think that the further you go down this rabbit hole, you just got to be careful. I mean, a lot of things I take with a grain of salt, you know?
Yeah.
The Pascagoula abduction, I have no doubt it happened.
Yeah.
It happened to those 2 men. Those 2 men were shipyard workers. I lived in that part of the country. I know that lifestyle, you know?
Yeah.
In 1973, they weren't thinking about flying saucers.
Right.
They were thinking about going home after a hard day's work, drinking a beer, going fishing, talking about those type of things. And they weren't thinking about that. It just happened. It
Yeah.
just happened. And it happened when all of this stuff was going on, this wave of sightings was taking place. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they had an experience that I couldn't even, you can't even imagine what that would be like.
And they didn't want all that attention.
No. Charlie, the older man, he did go in conferences, and he wrote a book. He had a book written. But the younger man, he actually had, at the beginning of this, he had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
He was put into a hospital. And then he kept it quiet. His wife didn't even know for 45 years. He never even told his father or his mother about it.
Wow.
He kept it secret for 45 years. And then one day, they were at a funeral, him and his wife, for a friend. Calvin and his wife were at a funeral in Mississippi for a friend. And he signed his name. He changed his name a bunch of times for different jobs. He wouldn't put his real name. And that day, he signed his name, Calvin Parker, in the guest book at the funeral home. And people saw it. And when he was walking to his car, they came running. They said, "Are you the Calvin Parker that had the UFO experience?"
Wow.
And he goes, "I don't want to talk about that now. This is not the place for that."
Yeah.
You know? So they
Right.
got in the car with his wife, and on the way home, she said, "Won't you write a book and tell your experience?"
Yeah.
And that's what he wrote a book. And that's after 45 years, and he started going to conferences. And when you watched the documentary, or if you watch any podcast with him, Jimmy Church had him on a podcast and talked to him for over 2 hours, and it was incredible. It was, and you hear the story. It's just like Lazar. His story never changes
Yeah.
from what they experienced on that craft. At the beginning, he told Charlie, "Don't tell anyone about what happened to me inside that craft. Tell them, I'm going to tell them I passed out. I saw it coming down, in front of us, but then I passed out. I don't remember anything else."
Yeah.
And he kept with that for a long time. He would even talk to the press, try to take a picture of him. He grabbed the camera out of the photographer's hand and smashed it on the ground. He said, "That cost me $800.
Mm.
There's no way the guy was lying. He never tried to make any money out of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't know have you ever heard of Philip Mantle? He's an English UFO researcher. He's written many books. He's got a company called Flying Disc Press out of England. He's been a researcher for years. He called Calvin about the case, and at first Calvin didn't want anything to do with it, and then he said, "Look, one day you're going to be gone. You should leave. You have to leave this story. What happened to you?
Right.
You got to leave it for people." So he goes, "I'll do it, but I want everything in the book exactly like it happened to me, like I'm going to tell you how it happened.
Yeah.
And I don't want any words changed. I don't want any mistakes taken out because I'm not an educated person. This guy is telling the truth. When you hear him talk, there's no way he made this up. It's impossible. They didn't have that kind of imagination.
Yeah.
And they saw when those three creatures came out, or robots, because they think they're robotic now. As the years went by, they thought about it because it's like they had a job to do, and they brought them back. They were floating. They were walking. They were floating, and they were on them instantly. For when they can't even figure out how the door opened on the craft. It just opened, and this light was blinding that came out. And Charles Hickson said, when I was in the craft, it was like I was inside of a light bulb. It was that bright.
Yeah.
Inside the craft. And to describe creatures with a point coming out and wrinkled, and the legs and no feet, just stumps, and the legs are welded together, and the hands are like mitts or lobster claws with the fingers. You have no fingers, it's just welded together with a thumb sticking out.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. There has never been any other type of abduction or sighting of a being in that description.
Yeah,
Never.
I was going to
There's
say.
no way those two shipyard workers, 19 years old and 42 years old, working in that hot sun, banging steel all day, are going to make up a story, can think up something like that. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
1973 in South Mississippi. It's impossible.
Yeah, there's no way. Absolutely. Paul, what do you think's going on? You think there's multiple lives here? Do you think they're here
Oh yeah, I
already?
think
Are
there's
they?
too many. I've been researching them for years, Tony. There's too many sightings and too much really physical evidence that's been left by different types, and I just think there's multiple ones. Just don't think of the grays with big eyes. Maybe that's true, but
Yeah.
there's other ones too. I think there's millions of races in the universe,
Yeah.
and some just happen to be that much more evolved and have found us some kind of way. And like Bob Lazar said, they don't travel in a linear line. They bend space and time. And if you could bend space and time, you're here and then you're there.
Yeah.
There's no in-between distance.
I'm telling you, I do you think there's gonna be any disclosure anytime soon in your mind?
I doubt it.
I agree with you. I can't see it
I
happening.
really doubt it. They're just not going to let it out. They might feed you a little nibble here and there, and then it might be with disinformation. You just can't trust it.
Yeah.
You just can't trust it. What you have to hope for, and I think one of the only ways is that catastrophic type of disclosure, a huge sighting like the Phoenix Lights, and this time they're cell phones,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
won't be able to hush it up if something like that happens. But
Got
I
it.
still think they're ready to, the worst thing is that I feel about the whole thing is they have crash retrieval craft. They have it. They've been back engineering it. They can't figure it out. It would be just like you took a Harley Davidson motorcycle and you brought it back to the year of the Aztecs or the Mayan
Right.
in South America. You dropped it off and you left. The next morning, the tribe wakes up and looks at it. They could never reproduce that. I don't know if they could ever think about how they could start it.
Right.
They might have ended up putting it on an altar and worshiping it as a god.
You're probably right.
So, I mean, that's what it is.
And
That's what it is.
that's our situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Oh,
But I just take a lot of things with a grain of salt. I really do. You got to do that.
yeah.
You can't just go down the rabbit hole and accept everything.
We
You know
are
what I'm
living in a
saying?
crazy world, my friend. All
I
the
know.
stuff going on, and we're like we're just trying to figure it out, like an animal looking out of the zoo at what he's saying. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'll tell you, I have 5 top sightings that I look at as my top 5. And the first one, I have Pascagoula. I have Lonnie Zamora. It happened in 1964.
Hmm.
He's the New Mexico policeman.
Yep.
that was a great sighting. That had physical proof. They had the landing traces. They had the burnt vegetation. It was still burning when the other police got there. And actually had the small footprints. That's one. And then the aerial school.
Yes.
In South Africa. That's another one.
That is.
And Westall School, which happened 60 years ago this month. This is the anniversary, 60 years. Over 250 students saw the objects.
Yeah.
Saw them. And two of the girls jumped the fence and ran out. They had this area behind the school called the Grange. It was like a cross-country area that they'd use for running cross-country.
Yeah.
And two of the girls got so close to the object, one of them fell down and passed out, and the other one said the object turned on its side, just like Bob Lazar describes almost 20 years later, and said shot straight up and was gone. Incredible. Westall is one of the great, and the Australian military was there, the police were there, men in dark suits were there, and they told the principal, have a meeting in the auditorium and tell them all they saw was a weather balloon.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Students. And one of the teachers was Mr. Greenwood, was a young science teacher. And his science class was in session. When the object, they were seeing, the kids playing outside saw three of them, right over the school, three saucers. And the girl ran down the hall and bust the door open into the science class and said, Mr. Greenwood, there's flying saucers. And they all ran out, and Greenwood went out, and he saw them. The kids saw them. It's unbelievable. And the local news station, Channel 9, got there and was interviewing some of the kids. And the principal came out and they stopped it. They said, leave the premises. They're not to be interviewed.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how the Australian authorities shut this down completely. The girl that actually saw the craft take off and go straight up, she was very close to it. She said it was like about 50 feet in diameter. It had purple lights around it. It had a dome on top. And it flipped up on its side, and it was gone, straight up. They had her in a room, a closed classroom, and they interrogated her for an hour. And she said, I did not see a weather balloon. I know what I saw. And they said, you cannot tell anybody. They made her swear she would not tell anyone about the sighting.
Yeah.
And you can't even find any records other than a few little newspaper articles on it. All these researchers have tried to find official records, and there's nothing about that case in Australia.
They're so good at this. They're so good at suppressing.
They're good at it, boy. They've been at it for 80 years.
Yeah.
They've hushed it up since Roswell. We know that happened.
Right.
Roswell happened. They took it to Wright-Patterson. And it's a shame what they made that intelligence officer, Major Marcel, do, kneel down and hold up some tinfoil in Dallas.
That must have been so frustrating for him.
And he's come out years later and said, we found sheets of metal, paper thin, and you could crush it and it would come right back to its original shape. We slammed it with a sledgehammer. We couldn't even put a dent in it.
It's crazy.
They got all that stuff. They got it all.
They do.
They flew to Wright-Patterson, and Wright-Patterson would have been the place in 1947 because it's the original Air Force base that was the Office of Foreign Technology.
Yeah.
That's where they brought it. And when Barry Goldwater was a senator, he was a colonel in the Air Force Reserve. And he was big friends with General LeMay, Air Force General. He asked General LeMay, can you get me in that place called the Blue Room? And that's supposedly where they have all the artifacts stored. And LeMay said, you SB. I
Yeah.
don't want to cuss, but he did say it. He says, the first time General LeMay ever cussed at me. He said, you SB, don't you ever ask me that again. And he's telling that to a colonel in
Right.
the Air Force Reserve.
Crazy.
That's Barry Goldwater. You can look it up.
There you go, man. That's it right there. That's
We know they're here. The Las Vegas case tells you they're here.
Yeah.
Those kids weren't lying. When that kid's on the phone telling them they got there's something in my backyard. They're 8 or 9 feet tall. They got big eyes. He's calling that in to 911. That kid ain't gonna make that up.
right.
You can hear him on the phone. There's no way he's lying. He said, we're terrified. And then Jim breaks it all down with the crime scene investigator, and
Yeah.
it shows like different. You can see the gray with the big eyes. You see it. They're cloaking, and then you can. It fades out. It's incredible.
There's no denying it. That's for sure.
They won't even go near. A skeptic won't even go near that case because he'll be blown away.
Yeah.
There's no way he can. That idiot Mick West. He's one of the biggest skeptics. He's probably a shill for the government. Every sighting you give him, he makes up. He says they saw raccoons and coyotes. Yeah. Okay.
10 feet tall raccoons.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's what there's so much out there. I just think the complexity of it is incredible. And if you go down the rabbit hole, you got to go with a grain of salt. You cannot accept every person telling you they were abducted or this and that.
Yeah.
I just don't accept them all. I let them talk. I read their story, and I go on. You know, I just can't accept it all.
Yeah.
But I know what I saw, and I can tell you it's real. The phenomena is real. It's here, and it's been here.
Paul, thank you so much for sharing your story with me. And, hopefully we can catch up and chat more about just these things in concept, because your perspective and your view on this, especially after having seen something yourself, I think is really spot on just about everything. So I really do appreciate it. Paul, thank you so much.
And if you want to see what I did with Aliens in America, watch that. It's really a good documentary.
Hi, we need your help to get bigger and better. How? Just like, comment, and subscribe. It's free and it only takes a few seconds. So thank you, and remember, there's a lot of strange and unexpected in our reality, so always keep your eyes, ears, and minds open and stay safe. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to High Strangeness. This was a glance at some of the strange that exists in our reality.